Hi, everybody. Just gonna wait for some people to come on. So anybody that's rewatching this, and it's no longer live, I will get started on tonight's topic, popular questions, in just a minute or two. Just waiting for some people to come on. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to post them in the comments section, or send me a message with your questions or any of your topic ideas. And when you come on, just go ahead and say hello. Hi, Bobby Sue. How are you feeling? I hope you're feeling better. I haven't actually been outside today, which is really weird. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I haven't been outside today. I don't even know. I'm guessing it's sunny, but I don't really know what it's like. I have been working on doing a final report for our most recent private residence investigation. And let me tell you, there is so much stuff that you have to go through, because each of our investigators does a report and then they submit their audio clips, and then I have to review everything and try to formulate a formal report for the client themselves. Hopefully we can get some more people in here. Right now I just have you, Bobby Sue. I'm going to try to share this on Facebook. Usually it takes me forever on my computer because it's so slow. Tonight won't be a long one. I just want to go through some like popular questions that, awesome, thank you, that people ask me as a paranormal investigator. When you pop in, just go ahead and say hello. Feel free to ask questions. Hi, Chad. Ask questions or post suggestions, or even just discuss whatever I'm talking about. Tonight we're talking about popular questions. And I'm going to try to share this. If you guys could share it, that'd be awesome. My computer is super slow. At some point I'd like to get a new one that doesn't take forever. How's everybody doing tonight? Good, I hope. All my kids are tired, so everybody's already relaxing in bed, and it's only 7 o'clock. I guess I'll have a quiet night tonight. All right. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions, or you're waiting on storms, I know I could use a good thunderstorm here. I mean, we've had a lot of rain, but you know how we are about thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are great sometimes. Just very fitting with the mood. And that's good, Chad. I can't wait. We got, what, a month before we go to Gettysburg and hang out. I mean, I go to Gettysburg like every week, but it's fun just to have the whole group there, and we kind of wander around and going into shops and stuff. So that's a lot of fun. We always visit Saxbridge, Devil's Den, you know, some of the shops. We go to Gettysburg Eddie's to eat, one of our favorite places. Finally, my Facebook just finally opened up. So anyways, I put the question out there to some of the people that I'm friends with on Facebook. I have family friends on Facebook. I have friends from high school on Facebook. I have paranormal friends. And I wanted to see what people, you know, what questions they thought would be good topics to discuss, or things that they just want answers to. And I only got one, which is kind of sad and disappointing to me. At least I did get one. Melanie asked, what about using animals on investigations? Is it a yes or a big no? Now, I'd love to hear everybody else's feedback on that, about having animals on investigations, because oh, I can't even remember. What group was it on TV that started having a dog every so often? Was it Ghost Hunters? That may have been a time frame that I didn't watch it. But if anybody knows that, go ahead and post that in the comments, because I can't remember what show that was that actually had a dog. Or if there are any that do it right now, I'd love to know. But for me, about animals on investigations, I would say that they would have to be well trained. There's all sorts of things that you think about when you have a dog, or I wouldn't want a cat on an investigation, but you know, having an animal of any kind, if the client is actually allergic to animals, so if you're, you know, one of your big tools is to use an animal and they're allergic to them, it kind of crosses that out. You can't really take your animal in there. And animals are kind of, they can be unpredictable. Even the most well-trained animals can be a little unpredictable. So, you know, I see a lot of paranormal investigators and teams out there that are not exactly, they don't exactly have, you know, good ethics to begin with. So to throw a dog or, you know, other animal in the mix may not exactly be ideal. You know, I guess it depends on how with it those people are. But getting into that more, trained animals. I mean, the animal would have to be trained. And what kind of training would be done for an animal? I'm sorry, I'm still trying to share this thing. It's still loading. Takes forever. So yeah, I mean, these are the questions you have to ask. How well trained is an animal? Hi, Donna. What kind of things is the animal going to, you know, do to let you know? What would be the uses of an animal in investigations? Because, you know, I'll be honest, some of my animals, you know, stare off, start barking at weird random things, but I don't necessarily attribute it to a paranormal. So, once again, unpredictable. There's Melanie. So, Melanie, we are talking about your specific question about having animals on investigations. I wouldn't say it's a big no-no, but I would say that there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of different things that you would have to go through to be able to do that. You know, making sure that a client's not allergic, proper training for the animal, setting protocols for using them. And really, I mean, if the animal's in distress, you know, that's really on the handler, you know, taking the animal outside of the situation. So, you know, it's hard enough for some investigators to be able to handle some of these situations. Having a dog in it, or a cat, or any other animal, which, like I said, I don't know why you'd want to have a cat as your animal to investigate with. They don't really like doing things for other people. Dogs, on the other hand, obviously are easily trained. So, I would say that if you're going to do it, you really have to focus on protocols and training. And not just like, oh, you know, 6-week training, we'll throw them out there in the field. No, I don't think, I mean, that dog's got to go to college before it can do that. Seriously. I don't want to make light of it, because there are people out there that probably do it and have very well-trained animals, but that's where I'm at. I would never use a dog or any other animal for that purpose, because I don't know the effects on them. Kind of like, you know, moving to the topic of pregnancy. Hi, Scott. I don't really agree with having a pregnant woman on an investigation. That's my personal feelings, and I wouldn't allow a team member to be on an investigation while pregnant, simply because we don't know what kind of things happen to us in these situations. You know, dirty places, disrepair, potential safety hazards, and then you move on to things that aren't physical, where, you know, what does it do spiritually? So, yeah, there's exactly, Bobby Sue. Start him as a puppy. Just like the dogs for people who have diabetes, or, you know, drug sniffing dogs, or, you know, bomb sniffing dogs. I mean, all of those animals are specifically trained. But how do you train a dog to sense something that, you know, we really can't put out there to them. I mean, there's no bottled up ghost out there to really train them saying, you know, oh, here we go. Here's a ghost. Go find it. I don't know how it would work. Yes, exactly. They're unpredictable. And depending on the breed, I mean, some breeds are extremely intelligent and, you know, are very dependable. But again, you never know with animals. You never know what kind of triggers they might have. And going into situations where you may not have all the facts, you know, going into like people's homes, sometimes, actually, I would say every private investigation that I've done always has that one surprise. No, some have way more than that, but there's always that one thing that you just you aren't prepared for. You don't know about. And yeah, exactly. Spirit in a can. So, you know, taking an animal into that situation is probably not the greatest idea. That's where I'm at. So that was Melanie's question. If you guys have any thoughts or anything else, any other questions or thoughts about it, just go ahead and comment on it. And again, you know, today we're talking about popular questions. Melanie was the only one to actually pose a question. Hi, Michael. Pose a question about, hey, Billy, what she, you know, question that she had. So we're moving on to questions that I get asked frequently. And any of you that are paranormal investigators or members of teams or anything, whatever questions that you get asked frequently, post them in the comments and I'll throw them out there too when I can get to them. One of the first things that people always say to me when I explain to them I'm a paranormal investigator. Now, not everybody knows what a paranormal investigator is. Sometimes I'm kind of shocked when they see my shirt and they're like, Antietam Paranormal Society, what's that all about? And when you try to start explaining them, you know, what you do, they kind of like glaze over a little bit and they're like, oh, like Ghostbusters. Kind of. I usually just sound kind of. You know, I don't go suck up ghosts and take them home with me. Or at least try not to. But, you know, I don't have any little devices that can do that. So one of the next questions they always say, well, isn't that scary? So my question to you guys is, have you ever really been scared on an investigation? Have you ever been scared on a ghost hunt? Hi, Eric. Do you think being in a haunted location is scary? Does it give you a thrill? I would say that knowing that I'm going investigating definitely makes me excited. I'm really excited, kind of like, you know, going on a roller coaster, because this is what I'm passionate about. I could talk about paranormal investigation for hours on end and bore people to tears, especially people that don't really care about it or don't have any inclination towards it at all. But scary, I would never say that I'm scared. I have had things happen to me that have frightened me, and I've discussed those before. You know, seeing strange light anomaly in a hallway when I was by myself because I was helping with a ghost hunt. And that was a Trans-Allegheny. I mean, who wouldn't be a little, you know, a little taken aback when you walk into a 100-foot long hallway that you're by yourself in, and I mean, it's known to be haunted, and you see this thing come out into the hallway. I mean, I think it would startle quite a few people and make them kind of ask a few questions. Why am I doing this? What am I doing here? But scary? No. I usually tell them, no, it's not really scary, because I spend, you know, maybe 6 hours alone with other people in the dark asking questions to myself. Really, that's, you know, in some cases, yeah, exactly. Know the history, like Trans-Allegheny. If you know the history of it, it kind of is, you know, a little bit frightening. You know, if you have, you know that there's been people that are psychotic that were there, and if their ghost is there, do you really think they're going to be predictable? Probably not. But no, again, I tell them it's not scary. I don't feel that I'm scared. But there are times that, you know, if I have to go check on a sound that's in a different room, and maybe there's just two of us investigators. We're not far apart, and I'm not technically completely by myself, but I'm far enough away from them that, you know, I can hear them, but we're not in eyesight. So walking off into, you know, an unknown like that is a little bit of a, you know, you have a little bit of trepidation there. But no, we spend most of our time sitting and talking to ourselves in the dark. And upon rare occasion, you'll hear sounds, you'll hear footsteps. I've heard screams. I've had things thrown. I've had doors close, open, equipment turn on and off. We had an experience with someone that asked for equipment to turn on one time, and it did, and it scared the crap out of her. I mean, she screamed bloody murder. She couldn't even believe that this piece of equipment actually went off. And I mean, at that point, we didn't definitely know that it was a spirit talking to us, but you know, if you prepare yourself to be scared, you're going to be scared, right? So anybody can say that they're scared. I have been in several. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta click on this because there's a see more. Sorry, guys. Okay, Salisbury Paranormal Research. I have been in several locations that had strange feel to them and made me on edge. There were areas in the Tala that felt electric with energy. The screams in that place send a chill down my spine. I would agree. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're walking around and you're not really frightened, and then things like that happened. You know, you might be a little, well, maybe we should just, you know, stick together and not go wandering by ourselves, which is, you know, one of my #1 rules. Don't ever go off alone, or at least not too far away from the rest of your people, because you don't really know what could happen. But like I said, anybody else has any thoughts on being scared? That's one of my #1 questions. Isn't it scary? I get asked, what exactly do you do? So that kind of goes back to the, you know, you start explaining it to them and they're like, oh, like Ghostbusters. No, not really. Yeah, but no, not really. I usually try to point them more towards ghost hunters. You know, have you ever seen Ghost Hunters? Kind of more like that. Obviously, you know, eventually we're not going to be able to use that because people are not going to know what Ghost Hunters is since it's not on TV anymore. But I really feel like it's hard to explain to people the what and the why, what we do. I actually had a lady ask me, why do you do what you do? And, you know, sometimes when you're in the paranormal field for a long period of time, you really start asking yourself that question. Hi, Jennifer. Why do we do what we do? Why do we continue doing it? Because, you know, there's a lot of drama in the paranormal field. There's a lot of, you know, stress. You're making sure that you review all the audio, and I mean, you have a full-time job as well as that. You have family, you have other social obligations. You know, there's a lot going on with the paranormal. So you have to have a really good reason to say why you do what you do. I personally am still passionate about it. I do it because I love the end result. Like right now, I have all of our data from our most recent private residence, and you know, I have all of our audio, I have all of our weather data that we collected, I have our personal experiences, I have our you know, what we did while we were investigating. So when you throw all of that information together, you see patterns, and seeing those patterns, to me, you know, it's fun and it's exciting. But I was the nerd that liked math in high school. So, you know, I loved being able to solve the puzzle and solve the equation. So this is what's the fun part. And a lot of the people don't have the same reasons. They feel like you know, they just want to see something. They want to experience something. They want answers for themselves. Then there's the people that really want to help other people. But there's a catch to the helping other people. You have to learn yourself, and you have to experience things, and you have to get some sort of seasoning under your belt before you can go out there and help people. So, you know, just like I said before, you can't just one day say you're a doctor and put your shingle up and go ahead and, you know, invite people in and tell them what's wrong with them. Same goes for the paranormal investigation. While we don't have boards and, you know, needing to get a PhD and things like that, there are certain things you should go through and learn before you become a paranormal investigator. So what exactly do? I actually attempt to find and document claims of the paranormal. To me, if somebody comes to me and tells me that they have certain things happen in their home, my objective is to either recreate it, to explain it away, or to capture it so that we can give them validation. Okay, there's a great question. Jennifer asks, aren't you afraid something will follow you? Sometimes. And I'm going to go back real quick. Paranormal Spirit Finder said, a lot of people ask us why we do our services for free. I'm going to address theirs first. Why do you do your services for free? There's a lot of ethics, you know, involved with that. You know, there's some people that say it should be okay to charge travel expenses. Well, to me, there's enough paranormal groups in the U.S. that you shouldn't have to travel too far. So, like Antietam Paranormal Society, I only do up to an hour and a half away. We won't do any further for private residents because, number one, if the client has an issue, you can't just jump in your car if it's 6 hours away all the time and just zoom out there. I mean, there's gas money, there's, you know, that's a lot of expenses. And if there's a good group in that area, why should you be doing that? You really need to just, you know, refer that case out. But for free, I would say it's because we're giving our educated opinion, and that's the best that we can do. So we really can't charge somebody for something that's, you know, we definitely don't have proof, really. I mean, honestly, I think at some point we probably could. Now, we do a full historical workup for these people. So we do hours and hours of history research and geological research, deed research. So there are people that charge for those services, and we probably could, but we retain the no charge, everything is for free, because we're doing it for research, not just because we're offering a service to somebody. So that's my viewpoint on that. We do charge people to go on our ghost hunts, and that money usually goes, every bit of it goes to the location. There are some fees that we incur, you know, for our paperwork that we have to do for them, or if we get wristbands and things like that for our guests. So, you know, there are some charges that are incurred in that way, so, but we don't get paid for it. But, you know, if anybody has any thoughts about the why we do paranormal research services for free, you know, just let me know. You know, that's a touch and back and forth. Think about it, though. A lot of us spend a ton of money going to places that are famous, that charge, you know, $3,000. Hey, Adam, we got Glider in the house. You know, some of these locations charge a ton of money to investigate, and it's really unfortunate that we have to spend that much money. But again, you know, these places have to do something to keep their doors open as well. You know, places like Trans-Allegheny that, you know, put those funds into doing remodeling, or some places just do it just to be able to pay the taxes on the property. So, or maintenance or upkeep. I know a couple of the places that we've raised money for have specifically used that money to do repairs that they have not been able to accomplish on their own. But getting back to Jennifer's question, she asked about, aren't you afraid if something could follow you home? Yes, occasionally. Some of you may not know, but years ago, I think it was like 2010, we did an investigation at a local KOA campground. And hey, Joel, and at this KOA campground, there was a young boy that we communicated with using several types of equipment. I mean, we had EVPs that we could tell that it was a young boy. We had, this is back when we had K2 meters. And you know, you're like an old school paranormal investigator when you had to use a coin to get the K2 meter to work. But, you know, honestly, even now, I still feel like the K2 is relatively new equipment, because back when we first started, we didn't even have anything like that. So yeah, we had a lot of responses from this young kid in the basement of this KOA building, and he came home with us. So, but I would say Jeremy invited him, my husband, who's the founder of the group. He just said, "Hey, Michael, you want to go to Waffle House with us?" And I was like, oh my God, don't ask him that question. And sure enough, he started to appear at our house, usually around the holidays. He was a great little spirit to have around, though. I mean, he was mischievous. He was fun. He didn't really ever harm anybody or do anything that that hurt us in any way. So, you know, he was just innocuous. He wasn't around all the time. So that didn't bother me. But having something that's nasty and negative, I wouldn't want that. I also know of a group that has had, they didn't actually have a spirit follow them home. They just did a very negative location. And it was a private residence. And they each had some pretty negative stuff happen in their own homes while they were doing this case. And then once they finished it, they all did, you know, cleansings and everything stopped. But, you know, that's a concern to, you know, be in a situation where not necessarily that they follow you home, but it could affect your home life, you know, from that. So yes, it's a concern. So definitely shield yourself, and it's all about visualization, you know. Sharon, our psychic, always says to create a white light around you, or for me personally, like I always tell everybody, mine's kind of like Fort Knox. I just have like a door that slams shut, a big steel door that slams shut. Nothing's coming in, nothing's going out. So just visualize yourself, you know, surrounded by something that's protective, and nothing will or should follow you home. Now just remember, when you're out investigating, if you start to feel like something's on your back, you start to get like weird back pain, base of your neck, down your spine, remove yourself. Find somebody who has some sage, meditate, push out your aura, get something going so that you remove that. It could be a potential, attachment, or it could just be you're sitting in a really bad chair. Adam says, changes your demeanor after a time also. Energy changes and such. I agree. Just investigating the paranormal, is that what you mean, Adam? It changes your demeanor? Yeah, I would say it does. I honestly, I see a lot of people discuss the fact that we don't know the health hazards that we have. I've seen a lot of cancer, drug use, depression, obsession. Hey, Rachel. So, you know, remember that being involved in the paranormal field isn't just about going out and seeing a really cool apparition. It's, you know, it can be detrimental to your life. So you really have to kind of separate yourself from some of that. For me, it just makes me really busy because, like I said, Antietam Paranormal Society feels like a full-time job sometimes. I wish I did get paid for it, because that would be great. So, I hope I answered Jennifer's question about, yes, sometimes it's a concern about things following you home. So, definitely shield yourself and do a good cleansing after you leave. I know we just did the warehouse, and we had some kind of strange things happen that night. So we were each saged after we left. Yes, constant energy and such. Yes, because, I mean, you come in contact with all sorts of things, and these things want to connect with you in some way or shape or form. So make sure that you cut all those cords once you seem to connect with them. And, you know, this kind of brings in the subject, people talking about using a Ouija board is the same as us using a spirit box or asking questions during an EVP session. There is a difference because when you're using a Ouija board or dowsing rods or using a pendulum, you're using your body and your energy to connect with spirits. It's not just about you sitting in a room and asking questions. I know I see a lot of people ask questions when they're investigating, and they really kind of don't really connect to what's going on. So unless you seem to connect to what's going on in the location, you know, you're really not connecting with the energy. You're not creating a cord between you and whatever spirits are in the room. So just remember though, when you're using a dowsing rod, or you're using dowsing rods, or you're using a pendulum or a Ouija board, which I don't recommend, you are using your energy as a direct channel to speak to spirits. So, and with anything, use caution. Know what you're doing. Ask the right questions and try not to get any crazy things happening. I know I've had people approach me. The amount of times that I have been sent messages about having 80 demons in somebody's house is like, I don't know. I really wonder. What exactly? Intention is important. No, set your intention and make sure it's a good intention, because if it's negative, and that's across the board, it's not just about, you know, having a negative intention when you're using a Ouija board, having a negative intention or a negative thought process when you're asking questions. You know, if you go into a location and you're like, this place has demonic activity, oh my gosh, it's going to mess with us, it's going to do this. It probably will. You may call to whatever spirits are in the vicinity that is going to give you that kind of activity. So just remember, how you approach it is probably what you're going to get. So people thinking this is just like a fun thing to do on the weekend, you never know. Thanks for stopping by, Adam. Moving on to the next one. If anybody has any, you know, questions or any, you know, thoughts or anything about that, go ahead and post them in the comment section. You know, I'm going to expand on that. Another one of the questions kind of leads to that. Can ghosts hurt you? I get asked that a lot. I believe, yes, they can. Physically, they can hurt you. We've seen people being scratched. Hey, Jeannie. People being scratched, people being pushed, things being thrown. You know, the things being thrown, sometimes it's not necessarily being thrown at you, but you're just kind of in the line of fire. But yeah, I think they can in some instances. So provoking them to have that response is probably not a great idea. Other than just, you know, we talked about this kind of like last time when I had my Facebook Live about safety hazards. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually, you can be, I wouldn't say hurt, but it can have an impression on you all those different ways. I mean, you can be physically harmed. You can mentally not be able to handle what's happening around you. Emotionally, you know, it could just make you kind of dissolve into a puddle. And spiritually, you just never know. You could have an attachment. So just remember that it could affect you in every way. I wouldn't necessarily say that it could hurt you, but it can. Is it Ken Suminski? I was going to wear the Portal Paranormal shirt tonight, but it's really big on me. So, yes, I would say that they could hurt you in some way, shape, or form. Anybody has any questions or thoughts about that? I know other people don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with anything that I'm saying here. But, you know, Portal is actually the group that I was, it's all like keto. Yeah, I know. I've lost a ton of weight. Portal is actually the group that I was talking about, that they had a case that affected more than just the client, and I've let them expand on that. I just said that they had one that affected their personal lives, so it was a very interesting subject So it's, you know, to me, it's something that our group talks about a lot, about the potential, what could happen to us while we investigate, and whether or not the case could be taken home with us. So, you know, Jennifer's topic is a really good question. Okay. Where is the best place to get sage for a cleansing? I don't know. I don't know where you live. It's Eric, right? Yes, Eric. I don't know where you live, so depending, there may be a really great holistic or new age kind of place nearby that you could just go in and get it. There's places online. Now, see, I make candles, so I know tons of places that you can get sage, and I live very close to Gettysburg, so there's a bunch of places up there. You can get it online. Just search it online. So, like I said, depending on where you live, you may have a place locally, or you may have to purchase it online. Keep an open mind. Don't say every noise is some famous person when others died there too. Exactly. That is a great point, because when you're investigating, you become subjective. When you have information about a location, you really want, like, you know, you want it to be Abraham Lincoln because Abraham, he was here, you know, wow, that'll be awesome to show other people. But that's not always the case. You know, it could just be, you know, Bob that cleaned the floors, that did it for 30 years. And to me, that's just as awesome, because that guy has a great connection to that place. So always be objective about the things you're getting. And just because you hear a knock on something doesn't mean that it's paranormal. It could just mean that the temperature has changed from the outside, and, you know, the building's starting to expand or retract. So there's always that possibility. Salisbury asks, what do you tell your clients when they ask you to make their ghost leave? Up until recently, Antietam Paranormal Society was, I'm sorry, my thing keeps going in and out. We never used to do this. We were documenters. So when we went into a private residence, our purpose was to recreate or validate paranormal experiences the client had. Just recently, we got a psychic medium, which is capable. She's capable of moving spirits on or doing cleansings. So we're kind of moving into that slowly. People actually have said they can't believe I have a psychic on our team, which, you know, I never used to really feel. I was very skeptical. So we didn't really want to approach that. And I feel like Sharon is a great addition to our group, and you know, her views are very similar to ours, so I really feel like we could do that. She can do that. That is, yes, I mean, we would do that now. But to me, I would want to know first why the ghost is there before you try to let them leave. They may have a reason. They may have something that they need to do before they leave. I'm going to scoot this closer because my arms aren't long enough. Let's see. Jennifer is asking a question. Animal spirits, they get overlooked. I don't have a lot of people telling me they see animal spirits. Now, I've seen our old black cat that died recently here in the house all the time. But they're a lot harder to try to investigate because, I mean... Oh, we did have one where at the Masonic Temple we heard a dog barking, and one of the former, you know, the heads of the temple, he had a dog that he brought with him all the time. So that was interesting. But probably, I'd say animal spirits get overlooked. It's just harder to investigate animal spirits than it would be humans, because you can't really get responses. They're not going to give you answers. The Paranormal Spirit Finder says they grow their own sage. I actually wonder, I think I may have sage growing in my flower bed. Crazy weird stuff. I didn't even know it was sage. I need to learn. You know, a guy that sees Lincoln all the time. Yeah. Oh, great idea. For all you political people who love discussing all these politics and things, watch the movie Lincoln. It's a very interesting movie, and it's almost like history's repeating itself a little bit. So that's all I'm talking about. I'm not a political person, so we're moving on from this topic. Let's see. Anybody have any questions, comments, or discussions? There's a cop outside that's chirping his there he goes. Anyways, Tracy, you stole his phone, so you're going to dinner now. Okay, well, have fun. Eat some for me. Eat some potatoes for me. I'm on the keto diet, and I'm not allowed to have potatoes. I miss potatoes. I told somebody the other day that, you know, I have a lot of Irish in my blood, and I really feel like there may be potatoes in it, too. I miss them that much. Let's see. What's the scariest thing you've ever seen? I get this question all the time. Again, I'm back to scary is kind of relative. I've had things that have startled me. But even when I've seen full-bodied apparitions, nothing's really scared me. I would say that, you know, back initially, the scariest thing that I've ever had happen to me was the first time I ever investigated, and it was at West Virginia Penitentiary, and I was with my husband and our other founder, Ryan, and they heard footsteps, so they ran off without me, and I didn't have my flashlight in my hand. It was in my backpack, and I don't know if you've ever been to West Virginia Penitentiary, but it is dark, dark, dark in that building. I couldn't see anything, so I literally just stood in one place for 15 minutes until they came back with the flashlights. But that really taught me very quickly, one, don't depend on the boys because they will leave you alone in a heartbeat. Two, always have a flashlight in your hand. And three, it's going to be dark a lot, so just get used to it. Other than that, scary? I don't know. I really can't say that anything's been scary. I would say the light anomaly that I saw at Trans-Allegheny was probably the thing that scared me the most. I was by myself in one of Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum's long hallways. I thought there was a team investigating down the hallway, but there wasn't. And this light popped out of a room halfway down the hallway, and it just hovered there and disappeared. So then when I finally started walking down the hallway and realized there was nobody else in there with me, it was like, what do I do now? Did they run from the footsteps or toward the footsteps? They ran towards them, Joel. We were in the maximum security area, and so when you enter, there's like a big cafeteria area, and then you enter the maximum security. I was standing in that whole cagey area, and then they ran out towards the other end, and they were on for like 15 minutes. Do you think you can teach yourself to communicate with spirits, or is psychic ability something only certain people have? Both. I think people are capable of it. I think some people aren't, but also people who maybe don't have really strong abilities could continue to develop them if, you know, it just takes a lot more work. There are some people that are just born with this. They just know these things. They can just do these things, and it comes easy and natural. But there's other people who do have abilities that may need a lot more development to be able to use them in an everyday setting. Now, I just finally figured out about 2 years ago that I apparently have abilities. And I mean, this is part of the reason why I have a psychic medium now. She's kind of my mentor, and I had no clue that the things that I was seeing were actually psychic abilities. Who knew? So I learned very quickly that just connecting with these things was not healthy, and I really needed to have good practices to be able to do that. Meditation and shielding and cleansing and grounding myself. So it's very important to set yourself on some protocols and rituals and things like that. If you think you have abilities that they don't, you know, even if they do come naturally, you need to learn to control them. And I'm an intuitive empath. I can actually, I can read living people way better than I can read any of the, you know, the dead people. I can sometimes I can't. It just really depends. But the living, I usually can get a pretty good reading off of people. It's weird and it's scary. My kids don't like it at all because they can't lie to me. Now I know a lot of people say, well, you're a parent, they shouldn't be able to lie to you, but I can actually read their minds, and they said it's I need to stop it. Do you think, I already answered that. Okay. Dancing Lady in Geriatrics was creepy but not scary. Now, if that is Ken with Portal, Dancing Lady in Geriatrics, was that when you guys went just yourselves? You have to let me know. How do you know if you're running towards or away from something you can't see? You just hearing where it's at. They ran towards, the footsteps were at the end of this hallway of maximum security. They ran towards where the footsteps had happened. It wasn't like they could see it. They heard it over there. So they ran over there to see if there was somebody over there. They didn't encounter anybody. We were by ourselves. So, oh, it is Ken. Yay, Ken. What kind of readings do I do from the living? I try not to, honestly, Joel, because to me it's a violation. If, you know, I'm trying to figure somebody out, sometimes it just automatically happens. Sharon says apparently I was reading her childhood memories and I was seeing some things and I explained them to her and she's like, oh my God, stop it. I can see, I guess, things that happened in the past. I can see their emotions. Sometimes their emotions almost look like I said, like heat waves. You know how in the summertime you can see the heat coming off of a road? And I attribute that to being more of like their aura. I can sense when somebody's lying. I can sense when they have unexpressed emotion that they're keeping hidden. A lot of stuff, and that's what I've been focusing on. I really feel like that's my strength, but eventually I'm going to try to branch out more to more of the mediumship than just reading people's minds and emotions. Geriatrics, and I was whistling period tunes and we saw that woman apparition come out of a room and she was dancing towards us. You know, now I do, now that you say that. I'm going to have to look back at that stuff. Yes, Rose, like an aura. I do see auras and I read auras. It's really strange. I just was able to do that within the last couple of years. And I know a lot of people don't believe in that stuff, and I didn't either. So I still kind of doubt myself, and that's one of my biggest problems. Voice to text. Well, I will check that out. I don't remember. Was that the most recent one or one of the first ones? I think that was the most recent one that we went to. Joel, you just do. You can see them. I can't explain it. I wish that I could. To me, it's just people. People are colors. And I don't mean like that in a racial way. I mean people are colors. Each person has colors involved. Mine are purple and gold most of the time. Right now, I think I'm a little lavender because I think I need a good cleansing. But you just can. You can see what they need to work on to heal. So, Jennifer, that's a very good question. I haven't reached that point yet. Emotionally, I feel that I can do that. Physically, I don't feel like I'm at the point where I could tell somebody that they have like something medically wrong with them. I really, I've been told a couple times that I should probably learn about Reiki and things like that, just to learn that stuff, not necessarily to do it. Most recent one. I'm going to look it up, Ken. Well, no, I mean, seeing, reading, they're the same thing, Joel. Seeing and reading auras, they're about the same thing. Do I have to be physically present? I actually, right now, I have to have met them in person. I don't know why. It doesn't necessarily mean that, I have to know them well. I just have to, you know, physically have passed by them even. Ken, I always get blue and green from you. yeah, so if anybody has any other questions about that, feel free. I think we're getting off track a little bit. I don't talk about this too much because it makes me sound crazy half the time. But it is really interesting. I try to read as much as I possibly can about the whole reading auras and things like that. And just remember that your aura can change based on your emotions and feelings. Yes, emotionally, I usually can. People are creatures of just bottling up emotions and kind of shoving them down. I do it myself, so lots of people have emotions that they don't talk about. And I love to see, like, one of my friends, she's had such a tragic past, and I see her almost discovering herself that she never has before through all of it. So, it's amazing. I'm the third person to see. I told you. I said blue is the first one I see, but I see some green. I think it's because you're a very grounded person. Anyways, scariest thing I've seen. I'm going to check that off. I do actually have questions written down. Where's the most haunted place that you've been? Yes, I get to ask this question all the time. Jennifer, I don't know. I'd have to see a picture of you to see if I could actually answer that question. Most times I have to be able to see people in person to be able to answer that. I haven't reached the point where I've really developed it enough. I'm so busy doing other things that I probably should focus on that for a little bit. But most haunted place that I've been, bar none, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Everybody's going to say that. If you've never been, go. Even if you just go for like the paranormal tour, just to see the building. The building's incredible, and you will have an experience, at least one, if you go there, even for an hour. It's amazing. Pretty much every single kind of thing that you can imagine happening, paranormal-wise, I've probably had happen there. I've seen shadow figures, full-bodied apparitions, elementals, doors have moved, objects have been thrown. I've heard people screaming, talking, audible. I've gotten EVPs. A little girl, I've been touched. You name it, it's probably happened, except for the whole demonic thing. Haven't had anything like that. But other than that, locally, sorry, got a text message. It does call you back. Yeah, Joel, I will be honest, it is 100% worth a 10-hour drive. Even if you only ever go once, but you'll probably want to go back after you go. It's incredible. The building is incredible. And you really have to see it through the day. And, oh, bye, Salisbury. I really feel like you have to see it during the day and at night because it's completely different. There's a different vibe to it. And it's not necessarily to say like it gets spooky and eerie and negative at night. It's different. It's very different. It's a great place. But locally, I'd say the KOA is one of the most haunted. And we've said before, that's not a place you mess with, because I would think out of every single place that I've been, that's the place that I would say would probably have some sort of demonic activity, even though I don't necessarily believe in it. It's literally about 20 minutes from where I'm at in Hagerstown. So we're pretty certain it has a portal. We've had all different German, we've had Native American, we've had Spanish, you name it, like strange foreign languages. We've had all the different types of activity, but we don't go there any longer. I know there's another team that goes there, and now that they've been there, I probably wouldn't go. You have to go do forensics. Like, really? Forensics? Or you need to go do forensics for a specific purpose. But anyways, those are the places. Next to that, one of our newest, the warehouse. We are always having experiences at the warehouse. I wish we could share the location more. And we don't, half the time, our lives don't happen because we get so involved with what's going on that we just kind of forget about it. But hopefully at some point we could try to plan for that. My daughter said, what is the most interesting part of the investigation? So I would say of the investigation, investigating, being out there, using certain types of equipment. I think sometimes using the ghost box is really annoying. I don't always like it. Oh, you need to get in there. Oh, you need to get into forensics. Oh, okay. Yes, I've done all those. The medical building, geriatric building, forensics building. We used to lead the ghost hunts out there every so often throughout the year. I think we've done it in April a couple times. We usually do it in October. And forensics has some. It's kind of tough when you have a bunch of people in that building because there's only 2 levels. So it's like, well, there's 3, but there's a basement level. But the top 2, it's kind of hard when all those people are in there because you don't really get into much. The medical building, I would say definitely has activity. And geriatrics, I think, is the 3rd floor. We had some good activity. And that floor actually taught me a little bit of a lesson. Geriatrics, you know, when you go and you ask questions at these places, some people get really, like, technical when they ask a question. Like, you see that device with the lights on the floor. Could you make that light up? You know, we all ask those questions. But in this place, you just really, what? Yeah. You really need to ask questions like, hey, could you light the light ups and could you light the light ups and just, you know, let us know that you're here? Or if you're using a ghost box, what's your favorite color? You can't get technical with them. You kind of just gotta just really be very basic and ask questions, because they don't answer questions because they don't understand what the heck you're talking about. So kind of sometimes you got to treat them like they're a child and don't use big words. That seems weird, but yeah, don't use big words. Especially not when you're dealing with possibly older people that had mental incapacities, or children that, you know, never developed, things like that. Okay, so back to what's the most interesting part of the investigation. I'm going to change that question a little bit to the most interesting part to everything that I do. For me, it's history and connecting the dots. You know, like I said before, right now I'm in the middle of taking all of our data from a private residence, throwing it all together, the weather data, all of our audio, our personal experiences, where we were at during the investigation, and, you know, putting everything together and trying to create a report for the client to kind of give them, you know, hey, this types of stuff has happened, and we can conclude this is probably what's going on. Hey, Jim. Joel, I learned on an investigation that the word communicate was not being understood. When I started using speak and talk, we started getting a response on the K2. Great. Yeah, did you hear that? Gosh, Ken, we have stuff all the time going by here. The boulevard is a main thoroughfare, so you're constantly having cops pass by at a high rate of speed. Yes, I agree, Joel. I think we all need to be a little bit more basic in our communication. Try to use words that aren't as complex because they don't really understand. And the word device, they may not know the word device. You know, we use that a lot, but, you know, come to think of it, you know, do they really know what device is? You know, you see that gray box on the floor and, you know, it has lights on it. But even then, like, you know, Jim at our most recent investigation, he said we have metal candles in the window. And, you know, that's a really great point of view when you're asking a question. So, yeah, be a little bit more basic in your questioning and don't use big words. So, like I was saying, I love the history and I love connecting the dots at the end of the investigation. And the last question, I saved the best for last. Do you really believe in all that stuff? Yes, I do. Do you all believe in this stuff? I'm a skeptic because I really feel like I'm tired of people showing me pictures that are pareidolia. You really need to focus on what every object is in a picture before you say, there's a man standing there. That's a tree. That's the light bouncing off the tree. That's, lens flare. There are so many things that it could be other than paranormal that it's just so super frustrating. I believe that there are ghosts. I believe that there are spirits. I believe in a lot of things. But I do not believe 3/4 of the stuff that people put out there is really paranormal. And I've seen some people share, some really respected investigators share audio that's not right. I mean, think about this whole Laurel Yanny thing. I mean, that's weird. I heard Yami. Other people hear Laurel, telling people they're wrong, and it's all based on what frequencies you can hear. Yes, photographs can be manipulated, and not just by putting them into Photoshop. Hey there. I really feel like, I've got a lot of things coming in all at once. Sorry. I feel like people just have stopped doing the work and stopped really paying attention, and they just want something to be something so bad that they are losing sight of the real goal here. It's not about being on television. It's not about having the best evidence. It's about being a good investigator. Sorry. It's about really putting the truth out there and not just, some half-assed claim that you really didn't research. So I really feel like people just don't do their homework. Oh, man. So apparently Christopher, my other admin on this page, is mad at me right now. I posted that Lizzie Borden pun the other day, and it's gotten like 8,000 views. So people like the weirdest stuff on Facebook. That was a really good one, though. Just too many bat videos. Oh my gosh. And bugs. Stop it with the bugs. It's not a fairy. It's just a mosquito or a moth. I mean, please do your homework. Please understand that when you take pictures, there are so many things that can happen when you take pictures, especially when you have your flash on. It's just, it's exhausting. It's very exhausting. And so like I said, yeah, I believe in the paranormal, but I definitely don't believe everything that I see. So that's about it. I think I've done enough. I'm hungry, so it's time to go eat. If you have questions, comments, or anything, feel free to post them in the comment section. I don't always see them, so send them to me in PM as well. It'd be great. I've had a couple people ask me to do radio shows. I'd try. Sundays aren't good for me. Tuesdays either because I do my own live thing. So just let me know. Send me a private message with any topic ideas, questions, comments, concerns. Probably won't really help you out too much with the concerns unless you have a paranormal concern. So I'm going to let it go at that. I'm Rebecca Boyer. I am the co-founder of Antietam Paranormal Society. And you too, Eric, you have a safe week. And I'll be talking to you next week. I don't have any clue what the topic will be, but I'll figure it out. I'll see you guys. Bye.